I'm your host, Chris Noggle, and welcome back to the Real Estate Money School. And today I'm going to teach you how to be the bank. We're literally going to talk about how you can be the bank and how you can be in control of your money. These are some very important things because your entire life you've been lied to. And not only that, you've been taught to give up control of your money, and that has to stop. Before we get into that, let's talk about your journey to becoming a rebel banker. That journey is going to start with lots of knowledge, things like podcasts and maybe some masterminds, a bunch of YouTube videos and all that stuff. You know what I'm talking about because that's the journey you're on. But too many people think that knowledge is power, and that is also a lie. Knowledge is not power because it's the application of knowledge that really matters. So whatever you learn today, whatever you learn in your journey, you have to take action on it. So I'm going to put that to the test. I'm all about taking action on knowledge, and I want to test you to see if you can do that. But to do that, I'm going to give you something for free. I just did this brand new booklet, Drifting Away from Traditional Car Buying, how to get all the money back for all the cars you will ever buy, drive, and own. You want this for free? Great. Take action. Go to chrisnoggle.com and click on the registration key for the Wealth Webinar Series. It's free, no cost for you whatsoever. You will get recordings every single week of our Wealth Webinar, or you could join us every Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern time, but you're going to get this booklet. But let's go one step further because I'm all about sweetening that up. Let's give you a copy of my book, any of my books. How about Mapping Out the Millionaire Mystery or Private Money Guide? You can get this book for free. And all you need to do is go on chrisnoggle.com yet again and click, I want the free book. Now, if you want the hard copy, you got to pay shipping and handling. But outside of that, it's all free. So if that doesn't teach you that knowledge is not the real power, because if you just learn how to get a free book, but you don't take action, the book never shows up. I just showed you how to get free books. They teach you really important things. But today, let's dive into how to be the bank. So let's go back to talking about what you do today with your money. All of you, every single one of us, I don't want to just rule out me, all of us have been taught that when we go out and we work for money, because that's what we're taught to do, trade hours for dollars or go out and get a job or start a company and work, hustle to make money. And what do we do with that money when we make it? Well, we take it and we put it in the bank. We make a deposit. It feels so good. You even grab your dum-dum sucker from that little coffee cup that's at that local bank, and every bank in the United States has one brand of suckers they give away, dum-dums. Right then and there, you should know there's a problem. When the bank gives you a sucker that says you're a dum-dum, it doesn't say you're a dum-dum, but it should imply that you are. You should start asking questions. Why am I putting my money in someone else's bank? Well, the simplest answer is that's what you've been taught to do. And they've made it very convenient for you. There's a branch in every corner in every city and every town in this country. You know why? It's because banks control your money and everybody else's money. And therefore, they have the complete ability to use your money to make more money. But what have you been taught to do? Take the money you earn. What have you been taught to do with that money you earn? You take it and you give up control of it to their bank, someone else's bank. That bank doesn't have your name on the front of it, does it? And in doing that, does the bank take your money, the deposit you just put there, and put it in a little box in the back with your name on it? Oh, no, not at all. The bank moves that money in those little glass cubicles right behind you. The bank takes your money and moves it in the form of loans. It takes liabilities, which is your deposit. It's an asset to you, but it is a liability to the bank. It takes that liability and it converts it to an asset, just like good old Robert Kiyosaki taught you how to do in the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Turn your liabilities into assets. But you didn't take that extra step to learn, well, how do I actually do that? Banks have known how to do that for a long time. And the banks have figured out that the best way to turn liabilities into assets is to move that money. You see, there's not a business in the world. I did say the world. There's not one business in the world that uses compound interest. Banks don't use compound interest. They charge you compound interest. They pay you compound interest. They don't use compound interest themselves. They move money. And if they used compound interest, all your money would be sitting in those vaults, sitting there or sitting somewhere else making money. But that's not what they do. They've trained you so well that you should believe in compound interest and you should park your money and just leave it sit with the banks, with Wall Street, with the brokerages and everybody else, those financial advisors. Give me your money and I will manage it for you. As if the advisor should actually say to you, you don't think you're smart enough to manage your own money, but I think I'm smart enough to manage your money. Notice how I said that? Maybe the advisor is smart enough to manage your money, but really, could you not figure out how to manage your money? If you just learned one, maybe two strategies, one, maybe two concepts on how you could be a good steward of your money, you could manage your own money. And I got news for you. There is not a person, not one person that cares more about your money than you do. That financial advisor doesn't care more about your money. The banks don't care more about your money. The Wall Street firms certainly don't give two craps or shits about your money at all. You care about your money and you give up control of it openly and you do it every day. And that's where the problem starts. So if not one company in the world uses compound interest because they move money, banks don't just park money, they move that money and they make a spread every time. Grocery stores, do they park their money? No, they move the groceries off the shelf. Those groceries are their inventory. Their inventory is their money because that's how they work. Car dealerships, they don't just leave cars on the lot and say, nope, can't have these cars. These cars have to sit and earn compound interest. That's silly. I know you might have even been like, dude, that doesn't happen. Exactly. They move their money. But you, what do? You put your money in a 401k. You put your money in the bank. You put your money in CDs. You put your money in investment accounts. Why? Because you want it to grow under somebody else's control. Because you have been taught the only way to grow your money is to leave it sit, take on unnecessary risk in most cases, and then hope and pray that it goes up. And it doesn't always go up because most people in this country have watched their money go up, down, sideways, and sometimes evaporate in the markets. All while they just wanted to provide that someday in the future, they're going to have money for retirement, money for a better life, money so that they can fulfill their financial destiny. But unfortunately, too many people, 95% of the people out there, according to Social Security, do not fulfill on any of that because only 5% of the people out there are actually financially successful at the age of retirement. Only 5%, 5 out of 100. That's it. And only 1 out of those 5 will be what we would call wealthy. So where is the disconnect? What the heck happens to make a statistic like that Social Security openly publishes? How can that happen in the United States of America? This is the land of opportunity, the greatest country on earth. And that's the statistic? 5 out of 100? 5% of all the people that live in this country? That's it? The land of opportunity, and we can only pull out a number like 5%? It's broken, folks. And it's broken from the day you're born, because the day you're born, you start to learn from those that teach you, your teachers, your parents, your grandparents. They start to teach you these things that they've learned. And what have they learned? The big lie. They have learned to give up control of their money for as far back as they can go. Everybody has been taught, give up control of your money, park it in the banks. The banks are safe. They have this FDIC guarantee. Folks, look up FDIC. And really dig in just one layer deep. Peel the onion just once. I'm not asking you to go deep. And you will see how much of a scam that one is. But that's all we got. Banks are safer than the alternative. Well, probably not. And you know what? The wealthy, no different. So all this stuff just got you all fired up, got you, maybe even upset, got you really thinking about, wow, if I'm making all these mistakes and I'm giving up control of my money, what should I be doing with my money? Well, we already discussed that. It's very simple. Why don't you just mimic what the bank does with their money? And then you're going to say to me, well, I can't. The bank uses other people's money. Yeah, but they use your money too. Because everybody I know that makes money in some way or another is putting that money into a bank. But what if we just had to change one thing? What if it were truly that simple? What if you could take back control of your money? What if you could be the bank and mimic what a bank does with simply changing one thing? Well, you'd probably say, Chris, there's no way that's possible. That sounds too good to be true. If that was true, why haven't I heard about it before? These are the rebuttals that I hear day in and day out. So let's just hit the rebuttals, because I know that's the first thing. People's minds always want to go to the negative, not the positive. They don't want to just say, wow, I could be the bank with just changing one thing. No, they want to say, well, that sounds too good to be true. What's the catch? What's the catch? As if everything in our life is a catch, right? You get down on your knee and thank God, every single day, and then say, boy, what's the catch to that? No. Or whatever God you serve, like, do you question that? You do not. And if you do, boy, you got to look at yourself in the mirror. But you question everything else, because we live in a negative society where everybody wants to focus on the negatives, not the positives. They want to focus on the bad, not the good. That's part of the broken mindset. But you see, in a podcast and all the trainings I do, I can't fix your broken mindset, nor will I. As I would say, ain't nobody got time for that. I certainly don't have time to fix your broken mindset. That's on you. But you can fix your broken mindset if you want. And then from there, you can start to see the truth about how money really works. And then from there, you can actually start learning how to change one thing. And that one thing gives you back control of your money and allows you to become the bank. So why haven't you heard about this? Why does it sound too good to be true? How can it be that simple? Bezos said to Warren Buffett back in an interview, he said, Bezos said this to Warren. He says, Warren Buffett, what you do with investing is so simple. Why doesn't everybody just copy what you do? Warren, without blinking, looks back at Bezos and says, well, Bezos, that's because everybody's in a hurry. See, the only reason Warren Buffett is a billionaire at the magnitude that he is, the only reason he is one of the wealthiest humans, well, probably, let's just say one of the wealthiest people in this country, but we know that it's probably, much further than that. Why is he so wealthy? One answer: time. Yes, he's good at picking stocks. Yes, he does great fundamental analysis, which doesn't work today because there's no fundamentals that make any bloody sense out there. But why is it he's wealthy? Time. Folks, you got to stop thinking that everything in your life is a sprint, because life is not a sprint. Life is a marathon. And you better get on that marathon sooner than later and stop worrying about the get rich quick schemes, or, oh my God, how do I put money in this shit coin and it's going to go to the moon, right? Everything's going to go to the moon these days. Yeah, but what happens when it goes straight down to hell? And that means you got nothing left. Sorry to use that word, but hey, that's the farthest thing down I can think of. So we're going to the moon or we're going straight down to zero. Which one? Well, that's up to you. We're all in a big hurry, and wealth takes time. Ask any successful multimillionaire or billionaire. It takes time, and it's not easy. So right then and there, that rules out most of the people, because everybody's in a freaking hurry and everybody wants the easy road. Nobody wants to put any work in for things. But now let's just say we got 20% of the people that say, you know what, Chris, I'm willing to put the time in. Chris, I'm willing to understand that it's a marathon and I will wait and I'm willing to learn. So now we've got 20%. So how is it still that only 5% make it? So let's go to the next thing. Why haven't I heard about this? If it's as simple as just changing one thing to be my own bank, why haven't I heard about this? Well, have you ever thought about the knowledge that you get about your money sometimes seems to be somewhat self-serving? You go to the bank and you want to learn something about money. What do you have to do? We have to hire the bank. Some fancy advisor with a fancy suit, unlike me, who, people often say, why would I take advice from a guy that wears a baseball hat and a t-shirt? Because I wore a suit for 16 years, high-end suits, to be honest with you, custom suits. I got tens, if not hundreds of thousands in suits, and I don't put them on my back anymore because I have upgraded my life. And that upgrade means I don't need to wear suits anymore so that somebody will look at me and say, wow, that guy's smart enough that should manage my money. I don't want to manage your money. I want to teach you how to manage your own money, because that's what I did. And then I evolved. I upgraded my life. And that upgrade came with shedding the suits, because I had nothing to prove to people. And I didn't need people to look at the way I dress and decide, wow, that's why I should invest with that guy. That guy's got the nicest suit. Take all my money. Did you hear that? Like, you know how idiotic that sounds? Do you know how stupid that is? So that means that anyone can go out and get themselves a nice fancy suit at Woolworths or wherever they go, Target for that matter, Target, sorry. You can go to Target and get that fancy suit. Now, all of a sudden, that person is elevated and you should have that person manage your money. That person probably knows nothing about managing money. The only thing he knows or she knows is probably the same thing you know, which is not enough. They often said, when I was a financial advisor, they often said, Wall Street is a unique place. It is one of the only places on earth where people that drive Rolls Royces will take advice from people that take the subway to work. Think about that. Those people that take the subway, yes, maybe they wore a fancy suit and maybe that's the reason, but really the main reason why you haven't heard about what I'm going to teach you is because there's no money in it for people. The advisors, they don't work for free. They don't want to take a cut in their pay of 60 to 90%. Do you? I mean, for crying out loud, can you blame them? How many of you listening to this want to take a cut in your pay of 60 to 90%? I hope none of you said yes. That's right. You don't want to. And I'm not saying you have to, but your advisor doesn't want to. Your bank broker doesn't want to. The people on Wall Street, the brokerages, all the people that could give you good, sound financial advice don't want to take a cut in their pay of 60 to 90%. So, Chris, why would you take a cut of 60 to 90% in your pay to teach us this? Well, I'll tell you why. And I did. And it wasn't something I would have done as an advisor because I was in that negative mindset. Why would I give up my pay so that other people could have more? I just couldn't wrap my head around the universal law talked about in the Bible, talked about in Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, and so many other books. If you give, you get. Zig Ziglar says it, I think, the best. He says, if you help enough people get what they want, you shall get what you want, or something there close. That's what I figured out. But you know what else I figured out? I figured out that making money doing a profession or becoming a specialist like a heart surgeon involves scale. You have to be able to scale. You have to help a lot of people in order to make a lot of money. Grandiose idea, right? Help a lot of people solve their money problems and you too make a lot of money. Wow. That right there is the universal law. And that universal law is give. Help others. Whatever terminology you want to use it in, it is very simple. But so few people want to figure that piece out about giving. They want to get, and then they want to give, and then they never give. Because if you focus your whole life on getting, if you focus your whole life on me, there's no time and there's no room left in your mindset because it's already broken to give. If you go through life thinking, well, when I have this, I'll give that. When I get here, I'll do that and help others. Broken. It's broken. The whole system is broken more now than ever before. If that's the way you think, maybe you should just get right off this podcast now because I can't help you because you're broken. Okay, go fix yourself and then come back and listen to this and maybe it'll make sense after you fix yourself. It's no one's job to fix you. It's your job to fix you and your mindset. It's my job, as I look at it, to then show you the way, show you how to take back control, but you got to be willing to accept. So that's one reason advisors don't want to take a cut in pay. Now let's go up the food chain. Why else don't you know about this? Well, the people that hire the advisors, the bank, the brokerages, they don't want their advisors to do something that makes that brokerage or that bank 60 to 90% less money. No, they certainly do not. And what I'm going to tell you involves taking a 60 to 90% cut in your pay. So what gives, how did this whole thing come to be? Well, any of you that are not following me on YouTube right now, stop right now, go to YouTube. Okay, I'll wait. Don't worry. Go to YouTube and click on @TheChrisNaugle. And I want you to subscribe to that channel. And I want you to hit the little bell so that it reminds you when I put new videos up. But I want you to find a video on there. And I want you to find a video that says the history of the infinite banking concept. Because that video explains a lot about why you don't know about this. But yet, who does know about what I'm going to tell you? Well, the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, the JPs, and the JPs may very well, along with the Rockefellers, have been the two that created and invented what I'm going to tell you. But the JPs, the Morgans, the Ray Krocs, the Walt Disneys, the Doris Christopher, who's pampered chef, the Warren Buffetts of the world, heck, right up to the current administration and the late McCain, all use this. They all use this. They've been using this forever. Most family offices for wealthy individuals use this system. That one change. Yes, they all changed one thing in their lives or in their money management strategy to apply what you're about to learn, which is being your own bank. Why do they do it and you don't? Well, folks, they have evolved also. They have upgraded their lives. Maybe they still wear suits. Maybe they don't. Okay, but they've upgraded their life to now get information from people that are in a fiduciary capacity, giving them advice and giving them strategies that aren't focused on how much money that advisor or that consultant makes. Because that advisor and that consultant was hired by that family office, by that wealthy family, any of those names I just said, they were hired by them on a retainer to find the best things to do with money. So the wealthy might, I guess you could say, have an unfair advantage in the fact that they can hire consultants, mentors, coaches that are their job is to find this information, bring it back without any hope of making a giant commission for bringing that, because this strategy will not pay that advisor, consultant, or coach. But they were already paid to find that knowledge. See what I'm saying? The knowledge you're being brought is being brought to somebody that has a self-serving purpose. They want to make money by bringing you information, and they don't want to give that information to you until you basically buy something or pay them a fee or something's in it for them. These wealthy families don't operate that way. They have just seeked out this information by finding the people that are in that space that know this knowledge, and they pay them a retainer. There's still money in it to feed them or to give them that knowledge. It's a big difference, folks. So let's dive into what that one change is. I just wanted to get some of the negatives out of the way because everybody's thinking it. So that one change about being the bank. Well, there's a couple ways to be the bank. Number one, if you're independently wealthy, you could just go buy out another bank. You could do that. Okay. And then you could be the bank and you could do that. But think about what a bank does. How does a bank make money? They make money lots of ways, but let's get to the fundamentals. You have been taught that you should take the money that you've worked hard for, go in and deposit the money. For those of you listening, I've been kind of flashing around $100 bill. So this $100 bill is worth 1 hour of your time, and you made $100 and you deposit it into the bank. The bank then takes that $100, immediately turns that liability into an asset by loaning it out. So they loan it out on mortgages. Maybe it's your 100 plus 1,000 other people's 100, or you get the drift. It's all the money people leave there. They loan that money out on mortgages in a first secured position. They loan that money out on cars with a lien on the title. See, collateral. And each one of these, maybe they're paying you 1% and they're charging 5% on that mortgage. That's a spread of 4%. Maybe they're paying you 1% and they're charging 6% on that car loan. That's a 5% spread. Maybe you go for just a personal loan or a home remodeling loan with either a second secured position or no security. Maybe they charge you 8% on that. 8 minus 1 is 7. You see, they're making a spread between all of these. And they do this over and over and over and over again. Now, the upward advantage of what a bank has that you don't is they have your money. They have your money and everybody else's money to put to work. So you can't duplicate that because, well, you shouldn't take other people's money and do that. But you can duplicate that same exact model, that same exact strategy with your money. You're already saving money, folks. You're putting your money somewhere. Hopefully you're not one of the unlucky ones or unfortunate ones that are spending every penny they're making on things. Car payments and rents and groceries and all those things. If 100% of what you make is going back out the door, you screwed up somewhere. Or maybe you're just in a bad place, which, hey, if that's the case, I've been there. I relate. Climb out, find a way out, work a second job, stop making excuses, stop blaming other people, fix your broken mindset, because a broken mindset involves you blaming. You saying it's somebody else's problem. You waiting for someone to bail you out. You waiting for somebody to hand you something. You thinking that the cavalry is coming to save your day. Folks, the cavalry isn't coming to save your day. And anything you take has a price tag much bigger than what you took. You are just broken. So fix that. But for most of you listening to this, you are saving money. Your money's going somewhere. Someone else's bank. Your money's going into a 401k. Your money's going into a brokerage account, maybe into crypto through Coinbase or something like that. You're saving money right now. So therefore, you have the ability to change where that money goes first. That's all I'm saying. Just change where that money goes first. Don't put it in someone else's bank. Put it in your own bank. And what is your own bank? Let's get down to it. Your own bank is something that banks have known about for a long time. As a matter of fact, your own bank, of what I'm going to show you and tell you what that is exactly where the banks, traditional banks, have put more of their money than anything else. They own more of this than they do all the land in buildings combined. So what is it? Well, it is nothing more than a dividend paying, specially designed and engineered. Let me repeat that. Dividend paying, specially designed and engineered whole life insurance policy from a mutually owned company. Now that I've said that, what comes to your mind? Oh, Dave Ramsey and Susie Orman said that's the worst place I could put my money. That's because Dave Ramsey and Susie Orman and the other talking heads out there are thinking that this is regular whole life, as if there's only one kind of whole life out there, as if there's only one way to design a whole life. Well, you can think that too. You can think that all whole life is the same whole life that your broke ass brother-in-law sold you back 5 years ago. And you're like, that was a terrible place to put money. You can think that all whole life is the same as that insurance store down the street is selling. And you know what that is? Overpriced, overcommissioned life insurance. That's what Dave Ramsey says. That's what Susie Orman says. And that is probably correct. But I'm talking about a completely different kind of whole life. Still a whole life, but contractually and design-wise, it is designed and engineered to operate and do something different. There will always be a death benefit, but let's just say we put the lowest death benefit on that we possibly can under the IRS guidelines called the MEC 7 payroll. So we put the lowest death benefit on. We support it with term insurance because the IRS has requirements for how much death benefit we have based on how much money we want to put into our bank. And our bank is nothing more than a specially designed and engineered whole life policy. So now we design the plan completely different. Most whole life is sold with the highest base death benefit. We're putting the lowest base death benefit. And then if we need to, we're putting what Dave Ramsey loves, that really inexpensive, cheap life insurance called term on the policy to support the IRS requirement. Then what we're doing is we're taking our hard-earned money and we're going to change where that money goes. And we're going to take this money and we're going to make premium deposits into that specially designed whole life. That's all we're doing. Instead of taking this money and putting it in the traditional bank, we're going to take this money, the savings portion of what you make, and we're going to put it into our bank, which is nothing more than this specially designed and engineered whole life. So now you're still thinking, well, but why would I do that? That just still doesn't seem smart. Let's get to why. Why did the banks do this? Why did all those wealthy families that I just mentioned, including Walt Disney and Ray Kroc, who you can look it up, both of them used it in their businesses. Walt Disney World would not be there without whole life insurance. Matter of fact, you can definitely look that one up. Ray Kroc would probably not be a real estate company first and a hamburger place second if it weren't for whole life insurance, because they understood what I'm about to tell you. And what I'm about to tell you is the reason why you would change this one thing, which is where your money goes first, is because of something Albert Einstein knew very well. Yes, not mathematics, but that's part of it. He understood that compound interest, but let's go one step further, uninterrupted, and I'll get to explaining that, uninterrupted compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. Albert Einstein said this. He said it is the most powerful thing in the universe. Those that understand it, earn it. Those that don't, pay it. What side are you on? I got $200 bills. Are you on the right side where you understand compound interest and you earn it? Or are you on the left side where you don't understand it or think you understand what you don't understand and pay it? I'll bet you out of 100% of you, 95% of you are paying it. You're paying compound interest to somebody else. You're paying it through your car loans. You're paying it through your credit cards. You're paying it through your lines of credit. You're paying it through everything in your life that you have financed because that's what you've been taught to do. Go out, work hard, make money, get the things you want. Don't wait. Don't wait for the money to be saved. Just go out and buy the things you want, use credit, and then borrow money from somebody else's bank. That's what you've done. And for most people, that has put you in a very difficult position because there sometimes is a lot more money going out than there is coming in, or at least close to the same amount going out as there is coming in. How do I know this? Talking to thousands and thousands of people. So uninterrupted compound interest is the reason why we would do this. So how does that work? Well, how does it work at a regular bank? Let's first talk about that. You take this $100. Actually, I'm holding $200. And you take this $200 and you put it into somebody else's bank. So now I have $200 in that bank. And let's just pretend that that bank, for all intents and purposes, is paying you 4% interest on your money. Now, there's not a bank out there that I have been able to find that pays 4% on your money, but let's just assume that we're going to make that up, that you found yourself a really good bank. So you're making 4%. Now you found something that you want to buy. And that's something that you want to buy. You don't want to finance it because you have the money. So what you're going to do is you're going to take 100 of the 200 out of that traditional bank that's earning 4%. How much is now left in your account? We started with 200. You took 100 out. And now there's 100 left. So now how much is left is $100. And how much is the bank paying interest on? Is it the 200 that you originally put in or the 100 that you have left? Well, duh, Chris, it's the 100 I have left because I took the 100 out. So you just depleted your wealth by $100 to go buy something. Who cares what it is? And you're now earning 4% on $100. Okay. That's a traditional bank. Nothing difficult about that. We all understand that. Now let's just change one thing. I'm now holding the same $200. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to change one thing, and that is where this money goes first, because I want to create my own bank. Okay. I want the name on the bank to read Christopher Naugle or whatever your name is. So I take this $200 and I deposit it in the form of premium deposits into this specially designed and engineered whole life. I now have $200 in that specially designed and engineered whole life. And now let's just assume that that whole life pays me the same as that bank probably didn't pay, but we hypothetically said that the bank was paying you 4%. So now the insurance company is paying you a guaranteed 4%. No, just so you all know, 2021, when I'm recording this, the insurance companies that we work with do pay a guaranteed contractual 4%. That will change in 2022. It's going to go down for those people that start after 2021, but right now it's 4%. So now I actually am earning 4%. So unlike before with the traditional bank where I said you found yourself a really, really good bank, which none of you could find, now all I had to do is change where that money went, and I am now earning a guaranteed 4%. And next year, if you start next year, it will probably be a guaranteed 3.5%. They're going down a little bit. Still better than what the traditional banks are paying you. But now let's do the same thing. Let's take that $100 out. I started with 200. And that 200 is earning that guaranteed interest rate, plus the insurance company, because they're mutual, is paying me dividends. Is your bank paying you dividends? Not unless you're in a credit union, but mine is paying me that 4% plus a dividend. So I take 100 out. How much is left in my account at the insurance company? All of you are thinking, well, duh, we already did this at the traditional bank. There's only $100 left in the traditional bank. So there must only be 100 because you're holding 100. Wrong. We changed one thing. We put the money into our bank, that specially designed whole life. When we took the 100 out, we didn't take our money. There is still $200. So literally, I now have to take another 100 and put it over in this pile. There's $200 in my account, but I'm holding 100. I took 100 out, but how can there still be 200 in the account earning interest and dividends uninterrupted? That doesn't make any sense, Chris. Well, whose 100 do I have? Did you steal it? Did you go to that insurance company and steal the money, you dirty bastard? No, I did not. This $100, where did it come from? The insurance company gave it to me, but they gave it to me as a loan against my death benefit. They said, you know what, Mr. Naugle, we're going to pay a death benefit out someday when you die. So if while you're living, you need some of that money that you have in cash value, which means it has to be collateralized by your cash value, the $200 I put in. If you need some of that, we'll gladly give it to you. And we don't want to ask any questions. No applications, no credit checks. Just click a button or give us a call and we'll send you that $100. They advanced me part of my death benefit in the form of a loan. And that loan is a swear word to you because you're thinking, oh my God, I got to pay that money back. Why would I take and loan myself my own money? Well, what if the loan never needed to be paid back? Because it doesn't. It's your death benefit. Someday you're all going to graduate, including myself. We're all going to go on to a better place. It's called graduation date. We're all going to die. And when you die, the insurance company is going to take that $100 that they loaned from your death benefit and subtract it for what's paid out. Novel idea. To the insurance company, it's just numbers on a screen. They just subtract it from a future liability. Awesome. What's the catch? Well, the catch is they're going to charge you interest on that $100 you took out. Okay. And by today's numbers, 2021, they charge 5%. So if I'm making a guaranteed 4% plus a dividend, that puts me at close to 6% with almost all the companies. We're at 6% or a little bit under. If I'm making 6% and I'm paying 5%, I just made a spread of 1%. I bet you that 1% spread I'm making for using my money is more than what you're making in your bank account. You think the wealthy don't understand this? You think banks don't understand this? Why are banks the number one purchasers of whole life that I told you earlier in the world? Because they understand uninterrupted compound interest. They always have. The only person who doesn't understand this is you because nobody's ever shown it, but it gets better. So I take this $100 that the bank or the insurance company, my bank, loaned me. And let's just say I take this $100 and I go out and I pay off one of my credit cards because I want to get rid of using everybody else's money. I want to get rid of using anyone else's other bank. I want to just use my bank. So I pay Visa off. So I take that $100 that was an advance of my death benefit and I pay Visa off. Then I take the $10 that I used to give to Visa every month in the form of minimum interest payments. Okay. I owed Visa 100 and I made minimum payments of $10 a month to Visa. And that $10 represented just the interest owed on that $100. I mean, don't get crazy on me with the numbers. I'm just going with this. And I take that $10 I used to give to Visa. Let's pretend Visa charges you 20% interest, which they probably do. And I take that 100 and I just change the name on that check. Every month I used to pay $10 to Visa. Now every month I'm going to pay $10 to the bank of Chris Naugle. I'm going to take the $10. I'm going to change the name on the check and I'm going to write Chris Naugle. I'm going to set up on a bill pay so I don't have to think about it or work any harder. And that $10 is going to flow back over to my bank. Right now, I want to stop for a second. I want you all to just draw a big circle. Draw a big circle, okay, with your hand. Got it? Got that circle. On the left side of the circle, represented by my hand that's all taped up because I fell skateboarding. But this is your left side of your circle. This is your bank. This is where your money and your capital resides. And all we're going to do is we're then on the top part of that circle, we're going to move your money out of your bank in the form of a loan against your death benefit over to the right side. What's the right side? The right side are the things that we buy to enjoy life. Cars, houses, maybe investments, maybe crypto, whatever it is, NFTs, whatever your flavor is, we're buying something over on this side. So we take that money from our bank, we move it over to the right side of the circle, which is the things that you buy. Okay. So now that's gone. Okay. But you're still making interest on 100% of that money, even though you took it out and it is now invested or bought something. But now we got the bottom part of the circle that we have. Normally you never connect the circle. Normally you're working with a half circle or a half full cup of, of something. Now we're going to connect the circle. We paid Visa off $10. And remember when we paid Visa off, we took the $10 we used to give to Visa and we took that $10, we shifted it across the bottom part of the circle. And where did that $10 make it? Back in your bank. So let's say we started doing that with everything. That was just one Visa payment. Let's say we then saved up enough in our bank, and it would take time. That's the marathon. We saved up enough in our bank to pay off our car loan. So we pay off somebody else's bank for the car loan, but we take the $500 a month we used to give somebody else's bank, and we take that $500 and we recycle and recapture it back into our bank. So what did you just do? Well, you just took back control of money you used to give away. Plus, you took back of the interest that was charged on the loan that you used to pay somebody else, and you now put that back into your account. So now you're making money twice, maybe even 3 times, because we're always making uninterrupted compound interest on what money we put into our bank. Plus, we're recapturing and recycling the money that we used to give away to everybody else's banks, which includes interest always. Because really, have you ever taken a loan out and had that loan not charge you interest? Probably not. And when you take a loan out for somebody else or use somebody else's money in the form of a credit card or line of credit, they charge interest and you gladly pay it. You don't even think about it. You just gladly give your money away and think, well, that was nice. I got to get a new car. I got to do this or that. What if you were the bank on that? What if every time you wanted something, you took money from your bank, the left side of the circle, and you moved it over to the right side of the circle? And instead of paying $500 or $100 or $10 to somebody else's bank, you take that same amount and you paid it back to your bank. How fast would your wealth build if all you did is learned how to become wealthy using your own debts and expenses? That's what I just showed you how to do. I showed you how to build wealth through your own debts and expenses by simply just taking them back. But the problem with that, like the problem with Bezos asking Warren Buffett, why doesn't everybody just copy that? That seems so logical and so simple and so easy. Why doesn't everybody just copy that? Because everybody's in a hurry. What I just explained to you takes time. A year, 2 years, 5 years, doesn't really matter what time frame it takes. It's all circumstantial based on the way you move money. But this is what a bank does every day. Banks didn't get rich overnight. They got rich over time. Banks didn't build wealth overnight. They got wealthy over time. Warren Buffett, everybody else that you ever look at, Ray Dalio, all of them got wealthy over time. Wealth is built over time. Stop trying to rush it. Stop trying to think there's some magic thing out there that's going to get you rich quick. And if there is a get rich quick thing out there that seems to make sense, chances are you will maybe have some immediate luck. And I am going to use that word luck. I don't play in the world of luck, but you might. And eventually that luck will run out and you will give all that money back. That's why all the money flows back into the hands of the 1%ers, because they understand what I'm explaining to you. And all the money comes back to them because they've got the circle. Their money goes from their bank out to you. You then pay them payments back to their bank. All the money makes it back in their bank. If you just replace them with you and you become the bank and you take back control of your money, holy shit, you just started making a whole lot of wealth. And you know the best part about it? You didn't have to work any harder for that. You didn't have to work any longer. You didn't have to give up control of your money. You actually took back control, and you didn't have to take on any additional risk in your life. But that sounds way too easy. That sounds way too good to be true. So now your negative mindset kicks back in and you say, well, I don't know. There's no way that's possible. Okay, bye. See ya. This isn't the podcast for you. I'm not your teacher. I'm not your mentor. I can't show you a thing because you already know everything. And Will Rogers called it best. He said the biggest problem in America is not what people don't know. The biggest problem in America is what people think they know that just ain't so. And that sounds a lot like you. So see ya. Nobody wants you here anyway. Go out there and be with the other 95%ers that are just going to conform to what everybody else wants your life to look like, to what everybody else tells you your life should look like. So now back to you 5%ers that are actually saying, you know what? This is intriguing. You need to do more due diligence. You need to learn more about this because you've just heard this for the first time. That's my bet. Or maybe the second time. And now you've got to dive a little deeper, which is why you're going to go to my YouTube channel and you're going to subscribe and click the little bell and you're going to start watching some videos on there. And then from there, other videos will pop up from other people that have been using this. Hey, maybe you'll just go out and read Tony Robbins' book, Money Master the Game. Or maybe you'll read Robert Kiyosaki's book, The Second Chance. And you'll start seeing that they were talking about this way back then. Maybe you'll read Pirates of Manhattan and see that that book talks all about this. Or 501k from the founder of the 401k, chapter number 1 talks all about this. And he calls it the Swiss Army knife of the financial world. That's right, folks. They're all pointing back to this stupid whole life insurance policy that I just told you was the machine that we use to move our money, but it is a specially designed and engineered whole life. That's the part you don't understand because you've been taught that there's only one kind of whole life, and that's the kind your broke-ass brother-in-law sold you, and it sucks. And that's why Dave Ramsey and Susie Orman are so high up on your priority list and so high in your belief system because you just want to believe that. But that isn't the whole truth. It's half the truth, maybe, because that's the regular whole life. Now we design it so that it works for you, so that you can then use it as a banking system, and then you can use it to take back control, like I just explained with the circle. Folks, the choice is really yours. It's not mine, it's yours. It's very simple. It's very easy to do, but it takes time and it takes you changing your mindset because what I'm telling you is the complete opposite of everything you've been told your whole life, and that's the hardest part. It's very difficult for you to change your way of thinking to think the way the wealthy do, but they did it, which is why they're where they are. So many other people have done it and paved the way for you. The book, Becoming Your Own Banker by R. Nelson Nash, great start. My book, which I offered you for free, Mapping Out the Millionaire Mystery, that book talks about it all, and you can get the book for free. This booklet, How to Get All the Money Back for All the Cars You Ever Buy, Drive, and Own, you might have been like, wow, that's really cool. How do I do that? Yep. The circle. And using this machine, your own bank, and by you becoming your own bank and taking back control of the monies that you're giving away today, just by slowly taking that money back is exactly how you do it. It would take you 10 minutes to learn how to get all the money back for all the cars you ever buy, drive, and own. But if you can get all the money back for all the cars you ever buy, drive, and own, why would you ever stop there? What else does it work for? Planes, trains, automobiles, taxes, everything, folks, vacations, cell phones, your laptops. What are you buying out there and what are you financing and what are you using somebody else's bank for? And it works for all of that. And then remember, all we're doing is changing where that money goes first. And then we're going to redeploy that money. So now for those of you that are thinking, oh my gosh, well, that sounds great. But you know what? I make way more than that in the stock market. I make way more than that in NFTs and in crypto. Why would I ever put my money there to only make this measly, couple percent of guaranteed return? You still don't get it. You still think it's one or the other. You still think it's and or. It's not. This is simply the and asset, as my friend Caleb would mention in his book, The And Asset, because you could take your money, change where it goes first, put it into that specially designed whole life, then take that money back out and invest it in crypto, in stocks, in real estate, in anything else that you invest money into today that you first were like, I make way more money than that. But you only make money once. Myself, Caleb, and anyone else using this strategy, well, folks, we make money twice for doing the same thing that you're doing to make money once. Does that get your attention? You don't have to change where the money goes at the end. You just have to change where the money goes first and then redeploy it to wherever the money is going today. And now all of a sudden, you have just figured out how to tap into the eighth wonder of the world, as Albert Einstein said, and earn uninterrupted compound interest on your money. Oh, and by the way, we didn't even talk about all the internal buildup in that cash value inside that specially designed whole life is all tax-free. Oh, yeah. So why don't you figure out, instead of just looking at it for the guaranteed rate of today, 4%, in 2022, a lower amount, why don't we stop looking at that as the number? And why don't we figure out what would your investments in that taxable account, stocks, crypto, whatever, have to earn to make that same return? Your CPA can do this. It's a simple mathematical calculation. There's calculators on bankrate.com that will do it, but I bet you anymore, it's more than 4%. Might be 5, might be as high as 7, depending on your tax bracket. See, the money's tax-free, but we didn't talk about that. We didn't talk about the fact that the money inside of this specially designed and engineered whole life is protected against judgments and liens in most states. That's right. So if you're a surgeon, a doctor, or somebody in a high-risk occupation, maybe a real estate investor, your money, your capital that you run through your bank is now protected against judgments and liens as long as you're not in one of the states that doesn't allow that. Oh, gosh, I almost forgot. We didn't talk about that death benefit much now, did we? But we talked about a whole life policy, which most people would just say is just an expensive death benefit. We barely talked about it. That's right. Because we're going to use that death benefit while we're living. We're not going to wait until we graduate to get that death benefit. And we don't even get it. It goes to somebody else. We're going to just try to use it all. But someday when you do graduate, there will be money paid out from this policy to your beneficiaries tax free. So you have just created a legacy. Now, let me ask you this. How many of you have children? I do. Are your children not important to you? Oh, no, they're very important. They're my why. Well, wouldn't it be nice to put them in a better position without having to try to do that? Wouldn't that be better just by you changing that one thing? Now your family has a legacy that will be passed on. Oh, it would be. Well, you know who else figured that one out really well? The Rockefellers. Read their book. Why is it that the wealthy families, the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, and all those others that I mentioned get wealthier and wealthier and wealthier generation after generation? Is it just because they're lucky? No. Is it just because they made so much more money during that generation that they just had more wealth? Well, maybe that's a piece of it. But could it just be that they play the legacy game pretty well? They set up a whole lot of these banking systems for everybody in their family tree and their entire generation. And then when that generation graduates, more money is paid out by the insurance companies that goes into their trust that funds the next generation of multi-billionaires or trillionaires or wherever they are. Every generation, every time somebody graduates, that family becomes wealthier, more powerful. Yes, some of it's used for bad things. Some of it's used for good things. We're not getting into the good and the bad there. I'm just simply explaining that legacy is always there. When you start thinking like the banks, when you start copying and mimicking what the wealthy do with money, you start seeing how they do it. You start understanding why they don't pay money like you do in taxes. You start seeing why every single day of their life, they become wealthier because of uninterrupted compound interest. You start seeing that when they graduate, why the next generation has more money to go out and do more things and start more companies and build more wealth. You see the circle, folks? Just think of that circle as you changing your mindset and changing one thing, and that's where your money goes. That is how you become your own bank. So folks, there's a lot more where this comes from. I just wanted to help you understand what the impact could be in your life if you just changed one thing, if you just added that one step to your life. All of that would happen automatically. So if you want to learn more about this, go to my YouTube channel, which is at The Chris Naugle, and click on my profile and subscribe, and then click the little bell so that you're notified every time I put up a new video. That's where it starts. And start reading, start listening, start learning how this works, and start applying it. Because remember, knowledge is not power, it's the application. Start applying it in your life and watch how things start to transform. But then you got to get the negative naysayers out of your life too, because your mindset's broken. But all the people you surround yourself with, maybe their mindset's broken too. And if they tell you that this is a scam, if they tell you that this doesn't work, if they tell you there's no way that's real, they're broken. And do you want to hang out with a whole bunch of broken people when you're trying to fix your mindset and your life and your finances and your wealth? No. Upgrade your circles. Get yourself around people that are living the life you want, that have done the things that you dream of doing. your life will very quickly change because you've heard it too many times. I even hate repeating it, but your network is your net worth. If you hang around people that don't think, that don't dream, that just live to everybody else's ideals and everybody else's ideologies, and they just conform to what everybody tells them their life should be, and they bitch and moan about it, you are in the wrong network. But when you get around people that are always seeing bigger things and doing more things and figuring out, how do I do this? Or getting to and calling somebody and saying, hey, I've got this idea. And that person actually embraces the idea and says, that's amazing. Let me help you. Now you're in the right network. So that's it for today's solo episode here. But I want to go back to what I offered in the beginning. I offered you all the chance to take action on what you just learned. And I offered that through my website, chrisnaugle.com, where you can go and you can get a copy of any of my books for free. I'm not going to ship it to your door for free. You can pay the shipping company, for the book, but this one will email you. We can email you the ebooks if you want, if you're too cheap to pay whatever it is for the shipping and handling to get the books to you. But hey, to each their own. I'll make sure that you get it any way you want. So take action on that knowledge. Go out there, get the books, read the books, and start watching the videos. That's all I can say. Folks, now is your time. There isn't a more important time in history than right now for you to take back control of your money. So stop blaming, stop complaining, and start doing. We'll see you on the next episode of the Real Estate Money School. Until then.